Forget Konate. Liverpool's £125 million striker goes missing in Palace defeat. Liverpool's unbeaten run is over. A last-gasp Eddie Nketiah strike sealed Crystal Palace's 2-1 win at Selhurst Park, leaving Arne Slot fuming. Fans pointed fingers at Ibrahima Konate, but it was Alexander Isak who truly vanished. The £125 million man managed just 19 touches in 84 minutes, fewer than anyone on the pitch. Even Alisson touched the ball more. Isak fluffed a golden chance to equalize, while Cody Gakpo's introduction did little to trouble Dean Henderson. Without suspended Hugo Ekitike, Slot had no choice but to keep Isak on, but patience is running thin. It's not just Isak. Florian Wirtz is also struggling to justify his £116 million price tag, looking lost on the left wing. Liverpool's £241 million duo are quickly becoming a problem, and the pressure is piling on Slot. Arne Slot, frustrated with Liverpool's set-piece defending, "We have to do better." Arne Slot was rightly frustrated with Liverpool's approach to defending set pieces. After conceding from a corner and a throw-in to lose 2-1 at Crystal Palace, Slot went into Saturday's trip to Selhurst Park knowing Palace were defensively strong and particularly adept at attacking set pieces. He set his side up in a questionable 4-2-2-2 formation from the off, which changed to a more orthodox 4-2-3-1 at halftime, with Liverpool 1-0 down and struggling to break Palace down. Their biggest concern, however, came when facing set pieces. Ismaila Sarr opened the scoring from a Daichi Kamada corner before Eddie Nketiah won it at the very end following Chris Richards' long throw. If you want to compete, you need a very positive balance with set pieces, and even more so in this league, Slot told Sky Sports. "It was one of our biggest strengths last season. Now we have conceded 2 against Newcastle and 2 here. But this league is more and more about set pieces." Nketiah's winner was particularly frustrating for a number of reasons, not least that it was avoidable, as Milos Kerkez conceded the set piece due to his inability to clear with his right foot. Liverpool could not deal with the chaos Richards' arrowed throw caused, and the ball fell to the former Arsenal striker to finish. In many ways, this defeat had been telegraphed, with Liverpool riding their luck more often than not in a previously unbeaten start to the campaign. It is never ideal when you concede an extra time, but there was a sub, so half a minute extra was fair, Slot explained, avoiding any rhetoric over additional time. "I have to check when they exactly scored, but we have to defend the throw-in better. We take learnings from all the games we have played, and we can take even more from a game like this." In many ways, this defeat had been telegraphed, with Liverpool riding their luck more often than not in a previously unbeaten start to the campaign. The onus falls on set-piece coach Aaron Briggs to continue working on their setup in defensive situations, with Slot's comment that it is an area the Premier League is more and more about ringing true. Palace will not be the last side Liverpool face who employ long throws and cleverly devised, physically dominant corner routines. Next time, they will need to be better prepared to deal with them, as with Virgil van Dijk 6'5", Ibrahima Konate 6'4", Dominic Szoboszlai 6'1", Ryan Gravenberch 6'3", and Alexander Isak 6'4", all starting. They weren't without the height required. Liverpool make decision over January centre-back signing as Marc Guéhi boost emerges. Exclusive with Graham Bailey. Liverpool will look into the possibility of signing a centre-back during the January transfer window, rousing the cop has been told. The Reds were keen to buy 2 central defenders during the summer market, with Giovanni Leoni and Marc Guéhi identified as top targets. Liverpool brought Leoni in from Parma, but a last-minute change of heart saw Guéhi's move blocked by Crystal Palace. Liverpool were happy to go through the season with only Leoni added to Arne Slot's squad, but an ACL tear has since ruled the 18-year-old out for the season. As a result, RTK understands that the Reds are now looking into the possibility of bringing a new signing to Anfield in the January window. A move for Guéhi has not been totally ruled out, but Liverpool are aware of and beginning to explore other options as well. Liverpool could bring forward Marc Guéhi pursuit. Liverpool had clearly not anticipated a need to add another center half before the end of the season, and were not understood to be planning a January approach for Guéhi. However, Leone's injury means a winter move is being considered at Anfield, although much will depend on the asking price from Crystal Palace. Palace chairman Steve Parish is still understood to be keen to recoup a fee for Guehi, and RTK have been told that the Eagles may only sell for £2025 million. For Liverpool, that is likely to be too high a fee for a player who can be signed for nothing 6 months later. Nevertheless, it is understood that the Reds have not ruled this out completely. They know Guehi has plenty of other suitors and are weighing up whether paying the money to see off these competitors in January could be worth it. In that respect, the option of a mid-season move is being seen as a potential boost by some inside Liverpool, with other clubs such as Bayern Munich and Barcelona only willing to wait until the end of the campaign. Dayot Upamecano and Charlie Cresswell could be options. Although he remains their first choice target, Guehi is not the only player Liverpool could look to sign in January. Dayot Upamecano is in an identical situation to the Crystal Palace captain at Bayern Munich, and Liverpool could look at the Frenchman depending on the fee demanded and the state of their center-back options at the time. As RTK exclusively revealed last week, Liverpool are monitoring Upamecano, and while a summer move is more likely, a January approach cannot be ruled out. Meanwhile, Liverpool are aware of other potential targets. Toulouse's Charlie Cresswell is one player they have scouted and is someone who could be on the radar again should they choose to wait for Guehi and/or Upamecano. Michael Olise to Liverpool takes twist as contract offer prepared for Bayern Munich star. Liverpool have been linked with a potential move for Bayern Munich winger Michael Olise. Michael Olise has been linked with a potential future move to Liverpool. Liverpool's hopes of landing Michael Olise appear to be under threat, with Bayern Munich reportedly taking steps to ward off their interest. Olise has excelled since joining the German Giants from Crystal Palace last summer, having emerged as a key player for Vincent Kompany. He scored 17 times and provided 21 assists in his first season as Bayern returned to the top of the Bundesliga. The winger has also made a flying start to the current campaign, with 4 goals and 3 assists in just 6 games. His impressive form has sparked rumors that a Premier League return could soon be on the horizon. Liverpool have been credited with a desire to land Olise, but the possibility of a move appears to be dwindling. This is because Bayern are ready to discuss a new contract with a bumper wage increase, according to Bild. The report states that negotiations are expected to begin at some point between now and the end of the season. Olise is currently tied down until 2029, but those in power at the Allianz Arena want him to sign an even longer contract. They are reportedly willing to offer him a boosted salary in order to seal the deal. Some reports have claimed that Olise has a clause in his current deal that would allow him to leave Bayern next summer. However, that suggestion has been shot down by Bild, meaning that any successful move would certainly be expensive. Olise is reportedly set to be offered a new deal at the Allianz Arena. Bayern's sporting director Christoph Freund refused to entertain the idea of an exit clause when quizzed on the topic last month. He said, "As a matter of principle, we never talk about the contents of the contract. If I were to say something along those lines, then we would talk about it. Our goal is for Michael to stay at Bayern for a long time. He is an extraordinary talent, an extraordinary player, and he works very hard to keep getting better at his very high level." More recently, Freund stated, "Michael feels extremely comfortable in the group. It's just a good mix at the moment. We deliberately wanted to be a bit smaller. Of course, we've said several times that if Fonzie, Alphonso Davies, Jamal, Musiala, and Hiroki Ito come back, then we'll be bigger again in terms of depth, but the quality is very, very high and we still have good competition." Bayern sporting director Christoph Freund refused to entertain the idea of an exit clause when quizzed on the topic last month. He said, "As a matter of principle, we never talk about the contents of the contract. If I were to say something along those lines, then we would talk about it. Our goal is for Michael to stay at Bayern for a long time. He is an extraordinary talent, an extraordinary player, and he works very hard to keep getting better at his very high level." More recently, Freund stated, "Michael feels extremely comfortable in the group. It's just a good mix at the moment. We deliberately wanted to be a bit smaller. Of course, we've said several times that if Fonzie, Alphonso Davies, Jamal Musiala, and Hiroki Ito come back, then we'll be bigger again in terms of depth, but the quality is very, very high and we still have good competition. Olise has been linked with Liverpool as a potential long-term replacement for Mohamed Salah, who will be out of contract in 2027. However, it seems he is happy at Bayern, and only time will tell if he decides to commit his long-term future to them. I'm really convinced. Oliver Glasner lifts lid on Marc Guéhi's mental state after Giovanni Leone injury refuels Liverpool January transfer speculation. Oliver Glasner says Marc Guéhi has shrugged off the disappointment of seeing a Liverpool transfer fall through and is now focusing only on Crystal Palace. The 25-year-old looks set to make a switch to Anfield on summer deadline day, only for the move to collapse at the 11th hour. Amid speculation the Reds may return for him in January, Glasner has no concerns about Guéhi's professionalism.
Liverpool rocked by bombshell transfer news after Giovanni Leone injury setback. The young centre-back suffered a major injury during his club debut. Liverpool have been dealt another huge blow just days after new signing Giovanni Leone suffered a major injury during his debut match. Just over a month after joining Liverpool from Italian club Parma in a £26 million deal, young centre-back Leone made his club debut during the Carabao Cup third-round clash with Southampton. An exciting moment for the 18-year-old quickly turned into a nightmare scenario as he was taken off after 81 minutes with what looked like a major injury. Shortly after, it was confirmed that Leone had suffered a suspected anterior cruciate ligament injury on his debut, likely ruling him out for the remainder of the season. And it looks like things may have gone from bad to worse for Liverpool after transfer expert David Ornstein's latest report has set up a concerning scenario. Giovanni Leone sustained an injury against Southampton. With the contracts of both Antonio Rudiger and David Alaba set to expire in 2026, the new defender would likely come in and immediately start alongside young talent Dean Huijsen, who joined from Bournemouth over the summer. Ornstein's report for The Athletic states that Saliba is expected to sign until 2030 in coming days, despite the interest from Real Madrid, leading many Liverpool fans to conclude that Konate's move to the Spanish side is all but confirmed. Ibrahima Konate has strongly been linked with a move to Real Madrid next summer. Fabrizio Romano provides major update on Konate's contract negotiations. However, the Saliba news will not stop Liverpool from trying to tie Konate down to a new deal, with the club believed to be eager to retain the Frenchman for the future. But, according to transfer guru Fabrizio Romano, negotiations are currently looking far from positive, perhaps adding further fuel to the rumors of his desires to join Real Madrid as a free agent. Speaking on the Here We Go podcast, he said, "For sure Real Madrid are very attentive to the situation of Ibrahima Konate. For Konate and Liverpool, at the moment it looks difficult. There is still no agreement, still nothing really close." He added, "Konate is out of contract in 2026, so there might be an opportunity, and Real Madrid are attentive, I can confirm that. Then again, it's still early to make decisions." Meanwhile, Spanish newspaper Marca are reporting that Real Madrid's interest in Konate is an open secret.
Big update issued over Marc Guéhi's future as Liverpool ponder January move. Liverpool will need to act quickly to sign Marc Guéhi in January after Giovanni Leone's injury. Supporters saw the debut of Leone in the League Cup, but his impressive start was cut short after suffering an ACL injury against Southampton, meaning the side are without a fourth-choice center-back for a couple of months. It was disappointing news and a shame to see the 18-year-old taken off after such a great game, which showed his qualities as a future center-half for the club. This injury has now left Liverpool and Arne Slot with a conundrum, given that they do not have an outright choice for a fourth center-back. They were supposed to have signed Guéhi from Crystal Palace on transfer deadline day, but the deal fell through at the last moment, meaning he had to remain at the London side for this season. Crystal Palace accept. Marc Guéhi will leave the club. However, while they were not able to get the signature of the 25-year-old, Liverpool are still confident they can sign him in the next window because of the agreements they had in place. It may be a move that happens sooner than anticipated, given the injury to Leone and the news that has come out of Palace this morning, which points to a January move. During a Sky Sport News broadcast, Tom White revealed the news that Guéhi is highly unlikely to remain at the captains. White reported, "Interestingly, talking about Liverpool center-backs, we've got some news just into us, big news, regarding Marc Guéhi. We are told that Crystal Palace, realistically, accepts that Marc Guéhi's time at the club is coming to an end. We're told the club acknowledge it will be difficult to convince their captain to commit to his long-term future at Palace. As for the player himself, He's calm about the next steps. Remember, on deadline day in the summer, he saw a move to Liverpool collapse. They were close to getting him for £35 million, however. Guehi stayed at Crystal Palace. He could, of course, go for a fee in January or for free next summer. The news is a good sign for Liverpool, given they need to add a centre-back to their lineup, and with the likelihood of Ibrahima Konate leaving in the summer. And in the meantime, they will have to work with what they have. But the issue they have is with keeping all three of their remaining centre-backs fit for as long as possible. Charlie Austin says Liverpool will need to act fast to sign Marc Guehi. There is one problem with the news and the fact that the Reds were not able to sign him in the summer, which is that other clubs will now be interested. While a fee being agreed in January is not out of the question, if they cannot agree on a deal with Palace, it will mean Guehi has a multitude of options as a free agent, meaning Liverpool may struggle to tempt him to the club. Charlie Austin spoke on the broadcast about how it could be a hindrance to the club, but agreed that it may give them the impetus to act quickly, given the recent injury. Austin said, "I think Liverpool will know that in the back of their minds, and the conversation would have happened, hence why they tried to get him on the transfer deadline day and probably should have done it before. Now it is going to attract a load of other clubs to the attention of Marc Guehi." But Liverpool, more than ever, now show that they need center half. Yes, they needed one in the summer and tried to get him but did not come through. But now the injury has happened. It's that which forces them to act even sooner. They need to strengthen, given that they do have two world-class players already playing week in and week out. A backup option alongside Joe Gomez is necessary if they are to become Premier League champions.